Update, my daughter's best friend showed up crying with boxes. One look inside and I knew everything. Turns out my daughter had an affair with her boyfriend. Now I'm struggling to understand how it all went wrong. I didn't want to interfere because at this point, there was nothing concrete, just a weird vibe. But the vibe was strong enough that I started keeping an eye on things a bit more closely. I mean, I didn't think Tina would cross any lines. She'd never shown me anything that would make me think otherwise. But teenage feelings can be complicated, and sometimes good kids do things that surprise you. After that night, I started seeing little things that maybe wouldn't seem like much on their own. Tina would find excuses to be around Maya and Jake when they were at our place, even if she didn't have a reason to be in the same room. She'd just sort of be there, and when Jake spoke, I'd catch her listening a bit too intently, like she was hanging on to every word. It wasn't blatant or anything that anyone else would pick up on, but I'm her dad, so maybe I was just tuned in a bit more. I'll admit it bugged me. I didn't want to see my daughter falling for her best friend's boyfriend. That's a line you just don't cross. But at the same time, I couldn't exactly sit her down and say, "Hey, quit staring at Maya's boyfriend." She wasn't doing anything wrong, at least not technically, so I just kept watching, hoping this crush would fizzle out on its own. One night, Jake was over again, and he and Maya were sitting on the couch watching a movie. Tina was sitting on the armchair, and I could tell her attention was more on Jake than on whatever was happening on the screen. She kept glancing his way, almost like she was trying to make sense of him. I remember thinking, this isn't good. I started debating whether I should say something to her, maybe just pull her aside and remind her that some boundaries aren't meant to be crossed, even if they feel harmless. But then I thought, maybe I'm overthinking this. I mean, kids have crushes all the time, and most of them don't mean anything. They just come and go, and in the grand scheme of things, they're not a big deal. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that something here was different. Tina's interest in Jake didn't feel like a passing phase, it felt more intentional. And that was what worried me. Looking back, maybe I should have trusted my gut and had that talk with her right then. Maybe it would have made a difference. But hindsight's 20/20, and at the time, I just kept telling myself it was a harmless crush. I figured she'd get over it, Jake would just be a temporary distraction, and things would go back to normal. So I let it be. I told myself it was just teenage curiosity and that Tina knew better. After all, she had grown up with Maya as her best friend, she knew what loyalty looked like. I believed that no matter what was going on in her head, she'd never actually let it get out of hand. Funny how things you convince yourself of can sometimes be so far from reality. So one day, out of nowhere, Maya shows up at our house like a storm. I mean, it was intense. She came tearing down the driveway, slammed on the brakes, and before I knew it, she'd hit the corner of our garage. I remember hearing this loud bang from inside, and my first thought was, what in the world is happening? I didn't even know it was Maya at first. I just heard this loud crunch and figured someone had a bad day on the road. I rushed outside, and there she was, just standing next to her car, looking like she'd been through hell and back. Her face was pale, her hands were shaking, and her eyes were red like she'd been crying for hours. She looked like she could barely hold herself together. The part that really got me, though, was the car itself. Her back seat was packed with boxes, and when I looked closer, I noticed they were full of Tina's things from years ago, stuff I hadn't seen in ages. Now, I didn't know what was going on yet, but I could tell this was serious. Maya's the kind of person who keeps it together, and I'd never seen her look like that. She was a wreck, and whatever happened, it was bad enough that she decided to bring over boxes of Tina's old things and leave them here, as if she